TCM, Total Conflict Management. And we're here today to talk about how organisations just like you are implementing approaches for resolving difficult situations, challenges, quarrels, disagreements, fights, grievances, complaints, bullying, harassment, discrimination, litigation, tribunals, how organisations are resolving many of these tough but very real issues through a new approach which simply involves two people, again, just like you and I, sitting down in a room with each other and finding an outcome which is acceptable to them, acceptable to the organisation, acceptable to their managers, through sitting down and talking and listening to each other. And working with so many organisations over the last 15 years, we've started to see a transformative and incredibly powerful impact that can come about when two people sit together and talk and listen to one another. And what we're going to do today is explore some of the barriers that exist within our organisations that actually impede two people sitting down and talking and listening to each other. And for those of you who've been reading some of my posts recently, you'll see that I'm arguing that the biggest impediment to people talking and listening is the procedure that exists to resolve disputes within your organisations. In particular, I'm referring to the grievance procedure. And over the course of today, my suggestion is going to be that the policy we use to make matters better is actually paradoxically making matters much, much worse. And we're going to hear today from a number of organisations who've stood up and said, actually, do you know something? The grievance procedures played a really important part in our organisation. It's actually helped us to ensure that the needs of our employees have been safeguarded, and we've balanced the needs of our employees against the needs of the employer. But I think those organisations, like so many of us now, are saying that grievance procedure has run its course. It's no longer fit for purpose in its current form. And moving towards a resolution policy and a resolution approach, which is predicated on cooperative practices, collaborative problem solving, consensus building, dialogue building, that in actual fact, when the organisation implements a dispute resolution approach based on those principles and values, actually what we start to see is a far more meaningful, sustainable and constructive mechanism for people to resolve this issue. I would go as far as to say that the effective resolution of conflict within our organisations could potentially unlock opportunities for innovation and therefore could directly contribute to business growth. And one of the challenges I think we face within organisations is we often see mediation or mediated approaches used as a reactive remedy to conflicts almost when everything else has been tried and there's very little else that's available. And mediation is used as a tool to mitigate or ameliorate the risks of harm to the organisation. And we've seen mediation used for many years as a reactive tool. But we're going to hear case studies today from organisations who've taken mediation and applied a much more proactive approach. That they've built mediation systems and processes within their organisations which encourage parties to come together and engage in dialogue at a much earlier stage, where mediation becomes the norm. Culturally, the norm. It's the way our leaders lead, it's the way our managers manage. It's the way we resolve our issues when we find ourselves in a difficult space, and it's how we find a solution and satisfaction to our problems. But critically, in so doing, the mediator transforms the conflict from destructive to constructive, and in so doing allows the parties to begin to articulate their needs and goals, their hopes and aspirations, which unlocks the potential for creativity and innovation. And my experience is when leaders and managers bring people together, they'll resolve their issues. They have enormous capacity to resolve their issues. But what they also start to do is identify creative solutions to real business challenges that we're all facing right now. And therefore, conflict is no longer seen as a threat. It's seen as an opportunity. And that's what today's conference is about, transforming our view of conflict from threat to opportunity. So a little bit about the session, the event, the conference. I'm so pleased so many of you are able to come along today. The hashtag, for those of you who are Twitter-oriented folk, is resolution redefined. If you hear something today that resonates with you, that challenges you, that makes you think a little bit differently, if you are on Twitter, please feel free to tweet using that hashtag, and we'll see what people are saying. We'll build up a debate and a dialogue today, a dialogue about disputes, a conversation about conflicts on Twitter, and getting people thinking differently. So a little bit about TCM. Again, you'll know us, but we are a fabulous little business. We've been going for 15 years. In fact, on our sales board this month, our strapline is punching above our weight, because I believe, given the size of our business, the influence that we've had in some of the biggest global businesses, right the way through to the smallest not-for-profits, has been profound. And I'm proud and privileged to have had that opportunity. We're an incredibly innovative organisation, but we're very grounded as well. We know how to make mediation work. We know how to overcome the obstacles. We know how to secure a commitment from the hardest naysayers and cynics and skeptics. We live it and we breathe it, but we're not overly earnest and pious about it. We believe in it passionately, and we can bring it and make it work. And we work very much in partnership with colleagues, human resources professionals, employee relations, industrial relations, managers, leaders, occupational health specialists. And one of our greatest strengths at TCM are the partnerships and friendships that we form, and hopefully being here today is indicative of just that. So that's really us. We've got a fabulous team. Our values really do define us. This is who we are as an organisation. We're about loyalty to each other, to yourselves as our friends and our partners. We're about innovating. We don't think mediation's that innovative. We think sitting down and talking with each other is probably the most natural and normal and healthy thing people could do. It's only when we walk into an organisation and people go, wow, this is groundbreaking, that we realise actually it is quite innovative. So we recognise that we are driving innovation and creativity. We're about courage for challenging. I've been saying for the last 3 years, shred the grievance procedure. And I'm going to say it again today. And I was being shot down 3 years ago. How can you possibly say shred this grievance procedure? But we're being disruptive, we're challenging, we're getting people thinking a little bit differently. We're about collaborating, working together and promoting, not just promoting collaboration, but actually doing collaboration. And I think that's a very important part of we walk in the talk. We're accredited by Customer First. We drive excellence and quality through everything that we do. In fact, total conflict management is a direct steal from total quality management. And I put integrated conflict management systems, which was coming out of Cornell and Harvard as some of the theoretical thinking about conflict management, and married it with total quality management and formed total conflict management. So quality runs through our business like Blackpool runs through a rock. And finally, it's about the integrity that we bring. We do walk the talk. We do believe in what we do. If we have a conflict in TCM, we will get around the table and we'll talk. And yes, we do have conflicts in TCM, believe it or not. But we do believe that mediation is the best way, and we will do it where we need to as well. So this is a little bit about what we do and how we work. Some of our services, you'll find out more over the course of the day. But I thought I'd going to put this in at the very beginning, because we never have time at the very end. It's how these things are. And in particular, we're launching our Leaders 2020 event, which is our management development program in partnership with the ILM. Chris Williams from the ILM is here with a stand, so please do visit the Institute of Leadership Management's table. I know they're waiting for more documents to come along. Really great organisation, and we're proud to be working with the ILM, ready to prepare for our big leadership program, Leaders 2020, which we're launching on May the 25th. We've got a number of organisations which have commissioned us to develop a leadership program within their businesses. We are, however, looking for more trial sites to trial Leaders 2020. So if anyone's interested in dragging soft skills into the 21st century, it could well be we're the organisation to talk with. And like I say, we are looking for trial sites at the moment to run Leaders 2020 and test it in situ. Like I said, we've got a number of organisations we're working with. So a very, very warm welcome to everybody. As I've said, I'll just run through the agenda very quickly so you can see what the day looks like. If I can find a copy of the agenda. There it is. So, In a moment, we'll hear from Harriet Wolfe from the Lancaster London Hotel. I'll hand over to Harriet in a moment and hear some of the fascinating experiences from this hotel of implementing mediation into both their grievance and disciplinary approaches, which I think give it a very interesting edge. Cathy Brown, Executive Director from Engage for Success, is going to talk about employee engagement and linking that into helping us to think about how we resolve disputes differently. We're going to hear a case study from the Royal Mail Group from Jane Fairhurst, who's going to be sharing her experiences and, in essence, a huge organisation's experiences of transforming their approach to dispute resolution, both in industrial relations and around bullying and harassment. A very interesting programme that's been running for a couple of years within Royal Mail Group. So there's a number of evidence that's becoming available and data that's becoming available. Johnny Gifford from the CIPD is going to be talking about the HR perspective. I can't see Johnny here, but I know he snapped his Achilles tendon not long ago. He's coming for his speech, but we have a few people in cast, so he's going to feel at home today. But we'll put him at the front with yourselves, and there'll be a kind of small community. So he'll be here a little bit later on this morning. There'll be an open forum and a Q&A session, and then we'll break for lunch. Then we're going to come in after the break, and I'm really excited to hear the story from the Lloyds Banking Group. I think it's the first presentation that Lloyds have done about the development of a resolution programme within Lloyds. I think it's going to throw up some very interesting statistics and evidence and challenges for us to think about. I'm going to do a presentation about the resolution revolution, as I'm calling it, and then we've got Kate Cooper from the ILM going to be talking about soft skills and leadership, because I think we would all agree that if our leaders and managers are better at dealing with some of this stuff, perhaps some of these issues wouldn't necessarily get quite so difficult down the line. So let's focus on a key stakeholder, the leader. We've then got Pat Edwards. I saw Pat somewhere. Pat Edwards from Islington Council talking about the experience of Islington Council establishing a mediation programme, and it's great to have Local Government Association here as well, who have a long-standing relationship with and friendship with promoting mediation within local government. So I'm really excited to hear Islington Council's experiences. We're squashing quite a lot in, aren't we? There's then going to be a live mediation theatre where we'll actually showcase a mediation. I know a number of you are familiar with mediation, but let's just remind ourselves, what are we really about? We're about helping two people resolve their differences. So we'll showcase that. And then finally, we'll have an open mic session and we'll wrap up around 4:30, 4:45. So that's the event. I'll change the slides over to Harriet and I'll say thank you very much again. Thanks for attending and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.